Here they are, our leaders of the 21st century. Wrapped up in play now. But look, right there, they'll be pioneering scientists. And here, he's destined to be a top business executive. As parents, we want our children to be cheerful and self-confident. We want them to be strong and to be free from unwarranted fears. We want them to be healthy, both physically and mentally.
Parents play the most important role in the development of self-esteem in their children.
Children need to know that their parents love them and that others think they're a good person. They may wonder, am I important, or can they push me aside and put me down? It's important that your child can say, I'm glad I'm me.
Harsh words can have a sledgehammer effect on children and lower their self-esteem.
You act like you have no sense at all.
What in the world are you thinking about?
I can't believe anybody could be so stupid.
Can't you do anything right?
Sit down and shut up.
Words do hurt. So how do we, as parents or guardians, make sure our children have high self-esteem? There are many ways. In the next few minutes, we'll cover 10 of the most effective. As you hear each suggestion, decide, is this a method I already do well, or is this a technique I intend to try with my children? Work on your own self-esteem.
What's important to know is that people perform better in life, cope better with life, if they feel good about themselves, including in this area of parenting. Parents in an intact marriage need to be sensitive to the feedback they give each other and have that be positive, self-esteem boosting feedback for the co-parent. That's a good gift to give to your children, valuing the other parent.
When we know deep in our hearts that we've done something good and valuable, or that we have character traits that are positive, we know for ourselves that we're good, and that's what long-term self-esteem is all about.
Some parents hesitate giving their kids chores, but as long as it's something they're able to do, it's an excellent idea. Having children do regular chores helps them develop feelings of confidence, and that enhances self-esteem. But we must be careful with chores or any other challenge our children undertake to guide and encourage, but not to do it for them. Our challenge, and it is so hard, is to be patient enough to allow our children to take 5 minutes to do something that we could do in 10 seconds.
Once again, here are those 10 suggestions. Work on your own self-esteem. Praise efforts toward a goal. Understand and appreciate each child as an individual. Provide your children with many opportunities to feel success. Allow your children to make decisions.
Hi, my name is Linda Cowles Murray, and I am the President and CEO of Anointed Community Services. And as you can see from our first segment of successful parenting, that it's important that we develop our child's sense of self. In doing this, you give your child a sense of security. Your child must feel secure about herself or himself and their future. What will become of me? What will happen to my family? Children, unbeknown to us, have these sorts of questions going on in their head. Developing your child's sense of self brings a sense of belonging. Your youngsters need to feel accepted and loved by others, belonging with the family, and then extending that sense of belonging to groups and friends, schoolmates, sport teams, a church, or even a neighborhood or community. Without the acceptance of a group, their identity will give them a sense of rejection. They'll feel lonely and drift without a home, family, or a group. Your child must have a sense of purpose and a sense of personal competence and pride, as well as a sense of trust. It's important that we build our child's self-esteem through positive affirmations, letting them know how important they are, who they are, and what God has set them out to be. It's important that we watch our children and see the giftings and talents that lie in them. And even if you don't see giftings or talents, just to let them know that they are fearfully and wonderfully made and that God loves them.
love you, baby.
Is your baby being good, Brittany?
Yeah.
She's a sweet baby.
Communication is crucial to the parent-child relationship, and it starts in infancy. Communication skills are some of the most important skills of parenthood. If families can't communicate well, family life is chaotic, and conversations either hardly exist or they often turn into arguments. With communication skills, mutual trust and respect are strengthened in the family. Barbara Lynn Taylor was a teacher and a school counselor for 20 years. She's also the mother of 2 boys, so she gets plenty of practice communicating with kids.
Communication is the exchange of information between 2 or more people. Communicating successfully requires skill, effort, and patience. For communication to occur, there must always be a sender and at least one receiver.
Sometimes communication between parent and child is just plain out of tune. So how do we, as parents and guardians, ensure good communication with our children? In the next few minutes, we'll offer 8 suggestions that'll help you improve your communication with your children. As you watch, make note of those things you already do well and those you intend to try. When you are the sender, choose a time to talk when there are few distractions. Make sure you have your child's attention. Say exactly what you mean. Speak clearly, use an appropriate tone of voice, and finally, be sure your message has been understood.
South, have you done your homework yet? Have you done your homework yet?
That setting was full of distractions.
South, have you finished your homework yet?
No, Dad. I have one more subject left.
Okay, soon as
That was much better. The TV was turned down, and the other child in the house was quieter.
Say something like, uh-huh, or I see every once in a while, to show you're following along, and summarize or clarify. And it's extremely important to make sure your body language matches your message.
You know, it's really important that parents purposely make some one-on-one time for each of their children during the week. When you do have that time, try really hard to be a good listener and not a talker or even a preacher. You know, we do have 2 ears and only 1 mouth. Maybe that should tell us something. Let's take a look at this mother and her daughter. This daughter is upset about something that happened at school today, and she's trying to tell her mother. This mother isn't doing a very good job of listening. This is one example of what she could do. This time, the mother stopped, got down to her daughter's level, and showed she understood that her daughter was upset. Mom urged her daughter to talk, and she showed she understood. Now the door is open for further conversation, or that might be all the daughter needed.
Dad, my baseball coach really upset me today. He embarrassed me and told me how I did badly in front of all the other players. It really embarrassed me.
Yeah. Well, you know, those things happen. You know, I can remember when I was 15 playing baseball and the coach really jumped all over me.
Dad isn't listening. He has taken the spotlight off his son and placed it on himself.
In that segment of Successful Parenting, we saw how important it is for parents to listen to their children. You know, communication, as mentioned in the segment, is a two-way street. One is talking and the other is listening. And it's often frustrated when we don't listen and to what someone is saying. It basically devalues that person and make them feel unimportant. So as you go forth and train your children, learn to listen to them. Listen to what's going on in their world. And not only listen, but help engage them in the problem solving. You know, a good thing for that father to do would be to ask his son, you know, son, I understand your frustration. I hear what you're saying, and how do you think we can resolve this matter? Sit down with your child and work out a problem solution, and you will be giving your child great tools for life, the tool of problem solving. So as we go forward, let us go and listen to the next segment of Successful Parenting.
Sean, are you doing your homework?
Parents want and need for children to behave appropriately. Why? So life will be peaceful now, and so children will grow up to be happy, successful adults. Why should parents take charge?
Ma, can I buy this? Oh, I don't think so.
Parents and children feel better, things run more smoothly, and parents usually have better judgment. Setting limits shows that parents care. But how do we make children behave the way we want them to?
Discipline is teaching our children to behave in socially acceptable ways. It's helping them develop self-control, and it's not easy.
There are lots of methods of discipline that will work. It's hard to find a method that everyone agrees is wrong. We have many choices. All discipline occurs within a family cultural context, and each parent must do what he or she feels is right. Let's be sure we make informed choices. Let's be sure that we show respect for our children, and we demonstrate constant concern for their self-esteem. Children want approval, love, and security. They want the safety of limits and controls. They'll constantly push at these limits to make sure they are firm, that we, the parents, are in control, and that they're safe. Discipline is difficult. Every family is different, and just when you think you've figured this discipline thing out, your children are older and nothing works anymore. Single parents have to deal with it all alone. That's tough. But in homes with both parents, agreement is sometimes impossible. Different methods work with kids at different times, but nothing works every time or for too long. So we parents need to have plenty of ideas in reserve. We believe the foundation for all discipline is love. Parents must help their children feel good about who they are. Parents can do that by skillfully listening to their children, celebrating their successes, encouraging their talents, and spending as much positive time as possible with their children.
So how do we, as parents and guardians, discipline our children? In the next few minutes, we'll offer some suggestions. As you listen, notice which of these you already do well and which you'd like to try. Try not to do these things.
Hey, come on, get up, get dressed, get your clothes on, get your books together. Let's go in here, eat breakfast. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Get in now. Children disobey in part because it works for them. They find out that if they just persist enough and nag enough or don't do what they're supposed to do long enough, that sometimes parents will give up. They also find out that they can get a lot of attention for misbehaving.
Let's review those methods of discipline. 1. Love, respect, listening. 2. Natural consequences. 3. Logical consequences. There are 3 tools for behavior modification: everyday charts, targeted behavior charts, contracts. Number 5, family meetings.
No two families are the same, no two children are the same, and what works this week won't necessarily work next week. So we need to be prepared to try a variety of approaches.
So, as we saw that segment about establishing boundaries and discipline with our children, we must also establish family rules. Rules with your children is a great way to communicate your expectations and to be consistent in your parenting. Not only do the rules help your child, but they help you because you must be consistently carrying out those rules. This can be especially helpful if your rules at home are different from the rules at their father's house or at their mother's house. So what are family rules? They are the rules that apply at all times, regardless of where you are or what you are doing. Guidelines for developing some of those family rules are: keep your family rules simple. You'll want to keep your ground rules simple enough that your kids can memorize them and can repeat them back to you. Limit your list of family rules to 1 to 5 items and sit down once a week with your children and go over the family rules. Go over what they view as going good and what they view as not going well in the home. As you listen to your children, they will help you become a better parent. And not to say that everything they disagree with is right, but it will give you an opportunity to evaluate your parenting styles and to make some adjustments in order to have a peaceful home. So we've just seen the 3 segments of successful parenting, 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to do an assessment. And now I encourage you to apply what you've learned so that you can be a successful parent.